Welcome to Mystical Messages. I am Hilary Harley, your podcast host. I am a soul guide and astrologer. Mystical Messages is your podcast gateway to discover and learn about the realm beyond the veil, including all things intuitive, metaphysical, and the healing arts. To learn more about my work or book a session with me, please visit hilaryharley.com. If you would like to read my monthly forecast, you may find the full written transcript for all astrology episodes on my website. That way, if you hear something and want to re-listen to a forecast or to check a date of a cosmic event, you may find it on the written monthly transcript on hilaryharley.com. Today, we are discussing crystals and how to use them and their connection to healing and the chakras. And I am so delighted to have my very special guest, Nicole Henley, join me to understand much more about this topic. Welcome, Nicole.
Hi.
Nicole is my healer, my go-to gal. She's located in South Shore of Boston. Nicole is an energy alchemist, energy spiritual alchemist, and her website is Nhspiritualalchemy.com. You can also find Nicole on Instagram and Facebook, Nicole Henley, Spiritual Alchemy, and plain old Nicole Henley, Henley. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here again. It's my second time.
Yes. So I should say not just welcome, but welcome back. Very few people I've had on 2 times. So yes.
Oh, good. I feel like you have honored.
Yeah, no, seriously. This is because I adore you and, you know, everything. Nicole is this font of metaphysical knowledge, and that is something coming from me because I gotta say, she is the go-to gal. She's read it, she's practiced it. There isn't a modality that she's not familiar with. She is also a licensed massage therapist, and so let's talk about that piece. Like, what was your introduction to crystals, bridging, say, from your massage practice?
Well, my introduction to crystals, like, I feel like anyone who liked rocks as a small child ended up getting into crystals when they got older. I just always remember like looking at the ground and seeing like shiny thing, like mica, you know,
yes,
in pieces of rocks, and just being like, whoa. Or going to Cape Cod and going to like gift shops. And there were always that, like, you know, take this bag and like fill it with rocks. And that was my favorite thing. Like, sure, I loved like penny candy, right? Everyone loves penny candy, but I also loved rocks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So fascinated, like 5, 6 years old, collecting rocks off the ground or rocks in the store or seashells, like always just connected to those kinds of things.
So instead of stamps or Barbie dolls, you had a solid rock collection.
I had a Barbie dolls, you know, but I also had a solid rock collection, rocks, seashells, like all like nature items.
Right. Right.
But I honestly think that anyone who was a small child that was fascinated with just like rocks on the ground ended up becoming some kind of like crystal collector.
Yeah, the people that I know that are really gifted with crystals, they all say that it started when they were little kids running around. And I grew up in the woods, the backwoods of Pennsylvania, and was not into rocks so much. I was into twigs and vines and swinging from vines. And
that's some green witch shit right there. Like,
right. So yeah, mine was always more interested in the celestial and the seasons, which properly translates into what I'm doing now. So talk to me about how you began using crystals in your energy practice with clients.
It just kind of was like a slow takeover. And it was interesting because I went from like one end of the pendulum, you know how like a pendulum swings and it goes from one end to the other before it settles kind of in the middle. So I went from like not using them at all. Like I would have them, in my house and set up in certain areas and gridded and in my office and on altars. But I was never putting them on the body until I started practicing Reiki. My Reiki 1, we had like a little discussion about crystals. And Reiki 2, we had like a bigger discussion about crystals. Mm-hmm. And that is when I was like gung ho. I was like, yes, we are putting the crystals on the chakras. Like, this is what we're doing now. I was like taking all of this information that I had learned about the chakras and crystals together and being like, yes, every chakra needs at least 1, if not 10 crystals. Like I was gridding the body with crystals, like all the way to the other side of the pendulum. And now, 10 years later, I am in the middle where I will, you've seen my room, like there's crystals literally everywhere in my room. Underneath the table, there's my giant selenite slabs that live under the table from the mines. And then, every once in a while, I'll put something on the body itself. I have the harmonizers for the hands that I use. So the more that I kind of stepped into myself and the more that I kind of created my own modality with all of the modalities that I've learned, it's evolved over the years for sure. But there was no like one, like, how did I cross it? There was no one way. It was just like, it was all of a sudden. And then now it's right. Yeah.
Okay. So let's back up. And for anybody that is not familiar, what is the benefit of using crystals in energy work or using them around the house, just having them in your home?
So each crystal, oh God, this is such a deep topic, it's wild because people think about crystals as such like if you don't mind, if I can give like a little history. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
So people have been, people talk about crystals as such like a new age thing. And I remember the last time I was on, we had like a little funny chat about the term new age and how it's not a new term, right? It's over 100 years old, this term new age. But crystals, like the use of crystals goes back like 30,000 years, right? Like the first historical reference to the use of crystals is from the Sumerians. And they used to use.
Okay, so we're talking pre-Babylon. So
pre-Babylon, like
the modern day Iran and Iraq.
Right.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
The oldest, so, back in they used to use talismans and amulets, right? They date back to the beginning of time. There were beads that were carved out of ivory that have been excavated from Russia that date back 60,000 years. Okay, like this is in like the Paleolithic era. Okay, wild. The oldest amulets to date right now, 30,000 years ago, are amulets made of Baltic amber. So talismans and amulets like made from stones have been found and dated back to legitimately the beginning of time. But yeah, the first historical use of crystals is from the Sumerians. And they used to use them in like magic workings. The Sumerians
ritual and
all kind of ritual work. Also the Egyptians, like ancient Egyptians, used lapis and turquoise, carnelian, emerald, clear quartz, everything. They used these in their jewelry. They wore crystals all the time. They used them for protection and health for the most part. Everything, it's just, it blows my mind to think how many people do not know this history or understand like how far back
this work goes.
Right.
So the benefit, if you can summarize that, is to heighten or to connect you to energy that you're looking to enhance.
Yes. For the most part. I mean, again, like it's always funny. I worked in a metaphysical store for years and people would come in and they were like, I'm looking for a crystal for healing. I would be like, well, they're all for healing. Like,
what kind of healing?
What kind of healing are you looking for, right? So you can use things to enhance certain things, to calm certain things down, to amplify.
So everything in between.
Everything in between.
Yeah. So I know a lot of people are interested in some sort of buzz words like abundance and prosperity stones. And I mean, is that an actual thing? Like, can you attract more of that?
So I am a firm believer that tools are tools. And regardless, like a hammer is just it's an inanimate object if it's laying on the ground, right?
Right.
It's a piece of metal and wood stuck together. Comes from the person using it, and not from the tool itself. Do these stones vibrate and have resonance and energy just like every other living thing? Absolutely, 1000%. But can just, putting a pyrite in your wealth corner of your house, like, bring you more abundance? No. You have to actually it's like manifesting, right? People are like, oh, I'm like making this list for manifestation. Great, but are you taking aligned action?
So that is what I really want to make sure people understand is it's not, you can not necessarily wave the proverbial magic wand and not follow through with focused action steps. So yes, the pyrite will help, or whatever stone that you're using will help with whatever you want to bring in more of.
Right.
But it requires your focused thought, intention. Yeah.
My favorite word, intention.
Right.
And aligned action, right? Like CEOs of major companies will keep like a pyrite on their desk, and they're making millions of dollars, but they're also doing the work.
Right.
We're also doing the work. So many people are like, manifestation doesn't work. And it's like, what are you doing to help it work?
To further it along. Exactly.
Like life is not this is for a different episode, but life, we are not passive players in life.
Right.
That is not our purpose here, is to be passive observers and expect things to just come to us.
Right. It's co-creating.
Right. Conscious, active, aligned co-creation, collaborating with the universe, collaborating with people. Like it's co-creation, which is such a big theme right now in my life. But that, again, is another story for another time.
So let's walk through some of your favorite stones. If you had, I know it would be hard to say you have a few more, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 favorite stones.
I used to have, they were all my favorites.
Right. And so
as
top
we grow,
5, top 10.
As we grow and evolve and change, right? As human beings do, individually and collectively, hopefully, our needs change, right? But there are ones for me that have kind of remained tried and true forever. My top one, carnelian. Carnelian is most definitely, like, every time I see a piece of carnelian, I'm like, I don't need another piece of carnelian. And then I get another piece of carnelian. And it's funny because it's not like a gemmy stone, right? No. Carnelian is orange and it's banded. It's very much like it's in the agate family. It's not, it's swirly and like so cool. There's all these different colors. And I have one that looks like Jupiter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'll show it to you the next time.
I have a big orange disc of carnelian. It's just a big round disc that's my favorite. And I feel like if I'm getting ungrounded or untethered, and it falls right at my throat chakra.
I'm a huge fan of that one, as I It's great for sacral work, for creative work, for working through courage, for amplifying like your passion. And as as a Scorpio and someone with that kind of like big sensual energy, but also someone who has some fairly intense trauma surrounding that kind of energy, have as a physical reminder. I think that's why I love stones so much. It's like a physical anchor, right?
Right.
Like you were talking about, like it sits right at your throat, and it's this thing that you have that's right there to physically remind you to be intentional with this part of you. So for me, carnelian, just like always when I'm having a difficult time creatively or in my physical sexuality, it's a really great
go-to.
And it's great it balances masculine feminine energies really nicely as well. Another favorite of mine, I love lots of grounding stones, really. Smoky quartz is another huge favorite of mine, because again, it just like pulls me down. It makes me feel weighted and grounded when I'm feeling like I'm gonna fly off.
Right.
Selenite, we talked about a little earlier, like giant slabs of selenite. Selenite is basically the only stone that will cleanse everything. It keeps the energy clean.
Right.
And when you do the kind of work that I do, where I'm removing stuff from people.
Yucky stuff. Yucky stuff.
Sometimes very yucky stuff. I need to have these things available to me that will help kind of clear that energy out. And selenite is one of the only stones that will just do that on its own. When these first arrived at my house, I told you this story about how they just showed up at my doorstep. My friend sent them to me randomly. But what
big
I didn't
selenite bars, right?
Big bars, the big slabs. When they showed up at my house, the energy shift was so intense that no one slept for like 2 days.
Wow. Clearing out some gush.
Some junk.
The carnelian and selenite and smoky quartz. Yeah.
And blue apatite. I don't know how much you know about blue apatite. It's that
I don't know my blues very well. I know lapis and turquoise.
Blue apatite is great for throat work, and great for connecting your throat with your intuition. But it is like that deep turquoise color, that like deep turquoise, that like teal turquoise, just like there's a little shine in it. And I first started loving it for its aesthetics only, because I was just like, this is so beautiful. But I always go back to it. And again, like we've talked about my struggle with imposter syndrome. So for me, having something that allows me as a physical reminder to connect my authentic voice with my intuition, which I'm learning and continuing to learn that my intuition is unmatched.
Yes, truly.
I'm learning to speak that. Right. Yeah. So having, again, this physical reminder, and it's funny now that I think about it and I'm saying it out loud, all of the ones that I love, specifically the carnelian, the blue apatite, they're connected to those two chakras, your throat chakra and your sacral, which are both connected to each other, your creative centers, and the way that you express yourself, both physically and verbally.
That is really very well said. So can you just spell blue apatite? Because it sounds like you're saying like I have an like appetite.
Your appetite,
right?
It is blue, like the color blue, and then the word appetite, apatite.
Okay, apatite. Okay. So a different spelling of appetite, but same pronunciation.
Yeah.
So can you just walk us through the chakra system? And for anybody that doesn't know what the chakras are, they're energy centers that each of us have. And there are many, but they're pretty much for everybody's basic use and knowledge are seven centers.
Right. So our whole body, our human body is like it's an electrical system. And in Eastern medicine, the patterns of energy across the body have been mapped out and they're used for healing like everywhere. So the chakras, there's a relationship between organ dysfunction, chronic and temporary illness, and emotional imbalances. And that all correlates with these energy patterns, right? So the term chakra evolved from the Sanskrit word that means wheel of light. And most people agree that the chakras are located at the main branchings of the nervous system. Mm-hmm. So again, like energy science and science really do go hand in hand. Mm-hmm. They're pictured.
We're getting there, Nicole. We're getting there slowly.
We used to be there. We got lost along the way.
Yes.
And here we are, hopefully kind of coming back to this place, right? Okay. So again, the term chakra, it came from the Sanskrit word that says wheel of light. And it's interesting because, you find this in Hindi cultures and Asian cultures, but even in the Native American cultures or in any indigenous practices, in every culture, you'll find some reference to an energetic key or energetic centers or energetic bodies, and they almost always correlate with each other.
Right.
Right. I think we talked about this in the last one that I was at too. Like, it's like religion, everything, varying religion.
All roads lead to Rome.
Right.
Yeah.
It's wild.
So
and
there's
that's
a connection. Yeah.
Always. And so in Hindu mythology, there are 114 chakra points in the body. And most people only work with the 7. And so obviously that's what we'll talk about today. But the 7 chakra system is actually a newer system that was developed in the 15th century or 1500s.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. That's a fun fact. I did not know.
Yeah, it's and again I say newer.
Right.
But
relatively
relatively new in the grand scheme of it all. So when you think about a chakra, it is not something that is you can't physically see it, right? But you can in your mind's eye, and it's pictured as either circular or kind of conical in shape. And the circle in Sanskrit belief, the circle holds so many meanings. It describes the rotation of feminine life energy and mystical symbols that direct your reality. And they reference different nerve centers in your body. They are connected with an aspect of your consciousness, a color, an element, a sound, a lotus, like a picture of a lotus flower with different petals. And then different interactions with the physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual aspects of your human body. They're also associated with a specific gland within the endocrine and nervous systems. So they represent a lot.
Yeah.
And then there are crystals associated with each of them.
So when one or more of your chakras are in the industry term would be unaligned, misaligned, out of whack, imbalanced chakra, crystals, in addition to Reiki, can bring them back into realignment and balance.
Which is why I think people love to carry, specifically people who do energy work or who do Reiki, who work with chakras in general, again, this physical representation, right? So as you have this physical representation with a crystal, you're working with the intention. I am working with this crystal with the intention of helping to clear out, realign this specific chakra or the entire system or these specific chakras together. So going back again to it's not just the crystal.
Right. Absolutely.
But the crystal helps anchor it into this physical thing.
Right. That is so important for everybody, including a reminder to me why we use crystals. I have to admit, because I was not a rock person growing up, I was a bit skeptical, but I have come to really value and use them in my own world and practice. All right, so if we're going to just briefly go through the chakras, before I do that, I want to just remind everybody, PSA, my very special guest is Nicole Henley, energy alchemist. Her website is nhspiritualalchemy.com. You may also find her on Instagram and Facebook, Nicole Henley, Henley. So the chakras and working with them, the base chakra, talk a little bit about what our base chakra governs.
So our root chakra, it's the first of the in-body, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but there are in-body chakras. There are the ones that correspond literally to the physical body, and then there are the ones that correspond to more the energetic bodies, right? So it's the first of the in-body chakras, and it sits at the base of the spine, kind of under the perineum. It's actually the one chakra that you are not allowed to physically touch because it's in a
delicate area,
sensitive place, right?
It has to do with sexuality and
that's actually the second chakra, which you can touch around that one. So the root chakra stimulates our links to survival. It's our grounding chakra. It carries our attitudes and our prejudices that are formed by our families. It deals with the foundation of our existence, our ancient lineage, our bloodline, and our ancestral heritage, the DNA that we inherited. It is our grounding chakra, and it is connected with qualities of order, security, structure, and stability. So it's a really big one.
Yeah. Well, if you think of a base of a pyramid or the foundation of a building, a home, I mean, our physical bodies are the homes for our soul. Right. So if your base chakra is imbalanced or not aligned, there is some real work to be done. There can be sense of lack of security, right. People who have lack or poverty mentalities, all of that comes along with it.
Yeah,
so it is. Crystal? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no. Crystals. So my favorite crystals for root chakra. Hold on. I love, so anything dark, right? Black, brown, red. These are the crystals we think about when we think about root chakra. The root chakra is corresponded to the color red. And then our grounding chakras that are in our feet, there are these two minor chakra points in the bottoms of the feet. And that grounding color is corresponds with like a brown, red, like the dirt, right? Mm-hmm. So those are the colors earth. Those are the colors we think about when we think about our grounding stones. So black obsidian, which is a shield against harm. It anchors us into safety. Smoky quartz, one of my favorites, helps. They like to say that it helps to clear the smoke, right? It helps to.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Hematite, which it's magnetic. It roots and cleanses. I know people who will tie hematite rings to the laces of their shoes.
Wow. Yeah, I am wearing I always wear my hematite ring. Always, as in like 95% of the time, but I really do have a deep attachment to hematite or hematite.
It's a good one. I remember working at this metaphysics. It will crack when you're done with it.
Or when I noticed that.
It will literally crack. The ring will crack. There was a man who used to come in weekly and buy a new hematite ring every week because his would crack. And I had to be like, eventually I'd be like, James, I'm not selling you this anymore because this is not your stone anymore. You need something new. Like the hematite doesn't want to be with you anymore.
Right.
You have used that energy. And like every week, this man would come in and just drop money on a new hematite ring. And then every week it would crack.
Yeah.
The stone will tell you, again, these stones will tell you when they don't want to be with you anymore. They will break, they will hide randomly. You will lose stones.
That's very true. I've had things that were in very obvious places, stones that were in very obvious places. And I went to go find it or use it, and it was not there. And I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to it?
Mm-hmm. So another great root chakra one is black tourmaline. It's another one of my favorites. It's protective. So when you think about your need and your sense of security, and you want to feel protected. Black tourmaline protects and kind of repels negative energies, keeps everything kind of far away from you. It's like a nice shield. Red jasper is another like go-to. Red jasper is very, very cool. So when you think about grounding, so people think about like, you know, calming. Red jasper is very cool because it provides you with this very firm, grounded, calming energy, but it's also stimulating at the same time.
Oh, one. So it's 2 for the price of 1.
You get a 2 for, yeah.
All right. So let's move up in our chakras. So
all right.
Yeah. Next we have
to the sacral, which is located in the lower abdomen, just about an inch below the navel. And it is the expansion of your individuality. Its location at the sexual organs reflects the instinctual need to develop a specific personality, but also to reach out to others. So again, it's like that, you know, you are yourself, but you are also in collaboration with other people.
Right.
And
connected to others.
Right. In so many ways.
In so many ways, yeah.
It promotes our ability to enjoy life physically. It's influenced by our ideas on pleasure and our sense of sexuality. That one and the root chakra are really difficult ones for a lot of people because we're humans. And,
and for women especially, there's been a lot of trauma related to both, but particularly the sacral.
Right. With root and sacral, women, marginalized communities. There's a lot going on in sacral and root very specifically. So sacral is the driving force for the enjoyment of life through our senses. And people think about the term sensual, and they always bring it back to sexual. And sensual and sexual are 2 very different things. To be sensual means to be living in your senses, all of them, every single one.
Smell,
and there's
taste, touch, visual,
all of them. There's such a weird connotation between feelings like, you know, you can be a sensual person and not be sexual at all. There's but you know, I talk about this a lot. I love words and their actual meanings and seeing how they've kind of changed through connotation over the years and bringing the attention back to what it really means. Like, let's take this word back.
Well, thank you for emphasizing the difference between sensual and sensuality versus sexual and sexuality, because there is a large difference, and we're all both. Sensuality is soaking up the deliciousness of life in every single aspect of it. So what stones do you typically recommend for the sacral chakra? And the color with this is
orange. So carnelian, first and foremost, that's my number 1. That is my first and foremost. Peach moonstone.
Ooh, pretty.
Peach moonstone. I love, it is full of feminine and fertile energy. And again, fertility and feminine energy, these are things that everyone has. Fertility, you know, the soil is fertile. Right? It's just bringing new things to life. It doesn't have to be taken so literally. But it's this receptive feminine, you know, feminine energy is receptive energy. It's your receiving side. So it's really enhancing and nurturing that receptive, fertile part of your sacral. Orange calcite.
Oh, yes. Orange calcite is
calcite. I love calcites in general. They come in a variety of colors. I love how they feel. They're really waxy, which is such a fun one, because so many stones are not like they're, you know, everything, especially tumbled, obviously, like very, very smooth. But carnelian, no matter what, is going to have this really calcite, no matter what, is going to have this very waxy feel. Another cool thing about calcite is that it is an amplifier. So it takes whatever energy it surrounds and it amplifies it. It makes it
So
greater.
that's a really good point to just note for everybody listening, that not all stones are amplifiers. Some are diminishers, some are neutralizers, and
some are cleansers.
Cleansers, right? And so calcite is an amplifier, meaning it heightens, it grows, it develops the energy.
Like quartz is another amplifier. Copper is another amplifier. They conduct things. They make it happen. It's like that extra little boost.
And
like
we know that copper is used in wiring of all kinds. Electronics.
Quartz is used in watches.
Quartz is used in watches. So these are connectors and conductors. These are, this is not some sort of woo-woo technology. This is, there's a reason and a science and a purpose behind all of these.
Absolutely.
So calcite, orange
calcite. It energizes, right? And it helps to stoke the fires of passion. What else do I love? Imperial topaz. It's one of my birthdays.
Don't know this one.
Oh, imperial topaz. It's it is this deep, gemmy orange, hard to find. That's why. So it's November's birthstone. But people will always say that citrine is November's birthstone because it's easier to come by.
Okay.
It's incredibly difficult to come by.
Yeah, I've never heard of this.
Right. It helps to kind of stimulate that creative energy, and it is used as a really intensely beautiful manifestation tool. Those are my go-to sacrals.
Those are beautiful. Okay. So I also have a November daughter, same birthday as you, actually. And I need to remember that Imperial topaz. All right.
I have a small, and legitimately pieces small.
Tiny.
I have one at home. I'll take a picture and I'll send it to you so you know what it looks like. It's gorgeous.
Oh, excellent. Gorgeous. Okay. So now we're moving up the corridor, as we say,
solar plexus,
into the solar plexus chakra. So this is above the belly button, below the heart.
Yes. In literally the middle of the chest, and it's bright yellow and it glows like the sun. It's literally like the sun that lives in the middle of your body. It manages your digestive system, and your nervous system and the immune process. Your digestion is a reflection of our ability to digest and assimilate anything.
So not just food, but
not just food.
Media, any kind of media, information, other people's
center
energy.
Of our instinct. It's literally where instinct comes from, right? So the center.
That's why we say my gut instinct is
right.
To
my
really
gut
like
is telling me, right. It is directly related to how we value ourselves. It is the center of our personal power, right? If you think about your body as your temple, it is directly the center of your body. It is the primary quality in our relationships, our expressions of personal power, our self-esteem, our confidence, freedom of choice, our mental abilities. It is mobilized when we assert ourselves into the world. So again, it's a part of that stack of physical body chakras that for so many people, we have such a hard time being in our bodies. So these are the ones that are kind of they're the least balanced. Right, they're the least comfortable. It has taken me 40 years to be comfortable in my personal power. It really. Yeah.
Well, and yellow is the color of intelligence. So I always think it's really interesting that it's not at the crown chakra or the pituitary, the third eye chakra. This is the center of us, our intelligence. It really speaks to the gut. Everybody's talking about biome right now and microbiome and our digestive system and our intelligence, really. So when you say about how we process everything, whether it's food is intelligence, how we're eating, we are what we eat. And that includes information of all manner. So what stones work best with our solar plexus chakra?
So yellow topaz. So this is another topaz. I like yellow topaz because it brings harmony and hospitality to strengthen our sense of being. Mm-hmm. That is like, just saying that makes me feel good.
Right. Calm. It's calming.
Right? It is. Citrine and real citrine, which there is a difference, and we'll talk about that in 1 second. But citrine is for abundance and optimism. It is also one of the only stones, it might be the only one, that draws in negative energy, transmutes it, and spits it back out, which I think is why it is also associated with like November birthstone and Scorpio, because it's that transmutation of energy.
Interesting.
Right? We don't just take it in. We take it in, we like mix it up, we alchemize it, and we spit it back out.
Right.
But most of the citrine that you will see out there in the world is actually heat-treated amethyst.
Oh, that's really good to know. So when you're going to buy a piece, ask the owner of the store, or the manager. And
a lot of people actually don't even know. And that's really difficult. People are out there selling heat-treated amethyst as citrine completely unaware. So the way you tell the difference is amethyst grows in clusters, like that, that cluster formation.
Right.
So heat-treated amethysts, heat-treated the citrine will look exactly like amethyst, only they'll be different colors. Mm-hmm. Actual citrine grows the way quartz does, in terminated points.
Okay.
It does not grow in clusters the way that you see amethyst growing. So you see like those cathedrals of amethyst, and they will sell cathedrals of citrine, but what it is it's heat-treated amethyst.
Oh, wow. That's very helpful to know.
Yeah. Okay. So citrine looks like a real piece of citrine looks like a quartz point.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's very helpful. So moving up to the heart chakra.
Yes.
Now, I always thought it was very interesting when I was learning about the chakras many moons ago that the heart chakra was green instead of, we all think of Valentine's Day, up red. Right. Yeah. So, why green? And then I think green is very calming, cooling, healing. It's
healing. It's the color of healing.
Right.
I'm not huge on like the archangels. I know a lot of people are, but Archangel Raphael, like that is, the angel of healing, and green is his associated color, right? Mm-hmm. That is, and what more healing than the heart,
right?
On so many levels, right? So heart chakra is in the center of our chest, and it is the center of our human energy system, right? It's literally in it's the centerpiece. Mm-hmm. It functions physically and emotionally to keep our life force alive. It holds our ideas and attitudes about worthiness to give and receive love. It is said that the enlightened can hear the sound of the universe within the heart. And so it is true that the heart is the most vital of all human organs, like both physically and spiritually. It emanates thousands of times more electricity than the brain, and it is measured. You can measure the energy field of the heart, almost 3 feet outside of the body. It beats our existence and our pulse, letting us know that all of life is about sound and rhythm. Which, as you know, is my other forte, right? It's my other very forte. It is all about compassion and love and beauty, transformation and integration. It bridges the earthly and your spiritual aspirations.
Yeah, and when you think about it being in the center of the body, it is the connector, as is the solar plexus between lower and upper. Mm-hmm. So what stones, what crystals work best with the heart chakra? So
even though the color of the heart chakra is green, rose quartz is everyone's favorite heart chakra for pure love and for self-compassion, and quartz being an amplifier. Again, it's one of those It's going to bring you up. It's just going to take that energy of love and compassion and push it outward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's for self-compassion, self-love. You know, people are always like, oh, like love. And they think about, you know, outward, you know,
Romantic love. Yeah.
But it's how we receive love, how we feel about ourselves and the love that we give ourselves.
Because when we love ourselves, then everybody else, it's easy to attract those who are loving to us.
Right. Yeah. What we put out comes back.
Right.
My favorite green stone is malachite. Malachite is a raw malachite. You should not touch it because it contains a severe amount of copper and it is toxic to the body. So a lot of you touch it and put it in your mouth.
That's good to know.
Very, very sick. But polished malachite, totally all right. And I think I love it so much because it's a transformation stone, that it also helps to create positive change. So if you're trying to transform the way you feel about how you give or receive love. Malachite is a really great one. Green aventurine, it's super heart opening. And it is so, it's just happy. It's like this optimistic, very happy stone. And then amazonite is another one that I love.
Oh, that's a really cool stone. Yeah.
I love amazonite. It kind of contains like deep heart wisdom. And it is a good one to hold for meditation if you're trying to draw in like divine guidance on heart matters.
Beautiful. Okay, so throat chakra.
Ooh, the bridge, the real bridge.
That's very true.
It is.
I think
it's the real bridge.
Yeah, but you're right. It's connecting head and the lower
body.
Right.
It is
and
the
body.
bridge. It is known as the gateway to the spiritual realms. It's called the mouth of God. It is the center for how we communicate our truth into the world, about giving a voice, music, sound to our inner heart, and in turn, hearing the world, what the world has to say in reply. It is the last of the chakras that processes our physical elements, right? Because
interesting.
It's like it's a very physical thing. Within the throat chakra, we prepare to ascend into consciousness, to shift into the chakras devoted to solely spirituality. It is about how we express ourselves, our truth, and our purpose in life and creativity. And just like we talked about sacral being that kind of center of expression, throat is the other center of how we express outward expression.
So lots of blue. The color is blue for the
color is blue, and it is a light blue. It's connected to our thyroid. Right. So any kind of like hormonal imbalances sit within our throat chakra as well.
So that's very important for women listening, paying attention to your thyroid and your throat chakra. So stones, turquoise. No?
Turquoise, yes, definitely turquoise. Interestingly enough, it's never a go-to for me, but turquoise is definitely one. My favorites are blue lace agate. For creativity and communication. Aquamarine, another huge one for truth and trust, for letting go and saying yes to flow. Right, if you think about aquamarine and the water.
Right. Oh, right. Flowing. Yeah.
Angelite is another really, really nice, soft, light blue. It's soothing and peaceful energy, helps you speak your truth. Blue topaz, another topaz. I'm a big fan of topaz. For honesty and clarity of feeling. What did I talk about before? Blue apatite, again, helps to kind of connect those creativity centers with each other. Yeah.
And now we're into the third eye chakra, the pituitary, which is the second chakra.
It is technically the sixth.
Sixth. Sorry, I went in reverse.
We're working from the bottom, make it to the top.
Working from the bottom to the top. Sorry. So the sixth chakra, the third eye, right above the brow point.
Yep. It is where solar and energies converge together. It combines earthliness, liquidity, conscious neutrality, austerity, spiritual devotion. It dissolves duality. So it allows us to stop seeing good and bad and differentiating between I and you.
That's timely right now.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. It is yeah.
I was going to say we're dissolving the barriers of separation right now and the illusion of separateness. That we are in fact all one.
Right. This could not have come better.
Right. It's a very timely conversation we're having.
What else about third eye? It is the control center for our mind, our intelligence. It's associated with your pineal gland. It's in charge of regulating your biorhythms, including sleep and wake. The pineal gland is located in the brain. It's a center of attention because of its relationship with the perception and effect of light and altered or mystic states of consciousness. It's positioned close to the optical nerves, so it's sensitive to visual stimulation and changes in lighting. Because it connects us with different ways of seeing and perceiving, the third eye images are often hard to describe verbally. I used to think that I was really bad at visualizing. And I used to say that all the time. I'm really bad at visualizing. But I was never bad at visualizing. I was just bad at describing.
Oh, yeah. There's a huge difference. Yeah. What you're seeing, whether in your mind's eye or actually seeing.
Right.
In reality, and then being able to describe it are two completely different things. Right. So yeah, this is the control center.
It is. And it's where it's the second part of where our intuition comes from, right? We have that gut instinct in our physical bodies. And then we have this intuitive, like, seeing eye.
So what stones, what crystals are best to work with the third eye chakra, the sixth chakra?
Sodalite is the first one that comes to mind for me.
Sodalite, Sodalite, sodalite. That's such a cool stone.
It is a cool stone. People confuse it with the other one that's really good for third eye, which is lapis.
Okay.
Lapis and sodalite, they look very, very similar, and people can't really tell the difference.
That's true.
The difference in lapis and sodalite is that lapis actually has like tiny gold flecks in it, so it sparkles.
Didn't know that.
Sodalite's a little flatter. But sodalite, it's great for clarity and concentration and focused energy. Lapis for deep wisdom, truth, and judgment. Lapis is what was used. The ancient Egyptians used to put lapis in like almost all of their jewelry.
That's true. Yeah, they have, if you go into the museums and see any Egypt section on Egypt, they all have lapis in their jewelry for sure.
And carnelian.
Oh, our favorite carnelian.
I'm bringing it back. I'm going to bring it back to carnelian every single time. Another really great one is azurite, which can be mixed with malachite. It grows together with malachite a lot of times.
Oh, that would be beautiful.
It looks like the earth.
Green and blue.
Literally green and blue swirled together. It looks like the earth. But azurite is incredible for inner strength, balancing your emotions so that you can kind of step into that like space where you're able to channel and like feel into your psychic power. Another really good one is purple fluorite. It helps to move past like spiritual discontent, helps with dream work. It's also a protective stone, which is kind of cool.
Excellent. Well, so to keep that by the bedside at night.
Yes.
Before you go to sleep. And then lastly, we have the crown chakra.
The crown.
Our connecting chakra to the universe and where all the energy pours in. So talk to me. We'll wrap up the show with talking about the crown chakra, our connection to the divine.
It is literally where we experience and know that a higher power is present. It's how we connect to our higher selves or any power that is not our own. It is the driving force for anyone mystic healer who is immersed with cosmic consciousness, and for anyone who actively seeks and cultivates their spiritual path. The crown is associated with the transcendence of our limitations, whether they are personal or bound to space and time. It is where paradox becomes normal, where opposites are one. The quality and awareness that comes with the crown is universal and transcendent. As we are immersed in the energy of the crown, we feel a state of union where all is one and we are in spiritual ecstasy. The crown is one that can become, it's a tough one because it can become overactive.
Right. And misused.
Overactive, delusions of grandeur with an overactive crown, if you are not grounded and anchored into your body. I see it a lot in the spiritual community, people with very overactive crown chakras.
Yes. Yeah. So what stones do you recommend working with the crown chakra? Or do we even really work with the crown chakra with stones and crystals? Or,
Again, so there are some people that are so anchored into their bodies, right? And which is, few and far between, but so many people are anchored into their bodies that they kind of need a physical representation of like this opening. But again, there are also those of us who are feel like imposters all the time. And so we also need to it is good to have something to kind of as like a communal thing. Right. So labradorite is a great one.
My favorite.
Ascending to higher spaces, dreams, connecting to cosmic consciousness and higher power wisdom. Amethyst, as a color representation, because crown chakra is purple, but it also enhances the aura, and it is a protective layer for your energy. People don't think of amethyst as a protective stone, but it is a protective stone, and it protects that auric field. Clear quartz, which is considered the healer, and it is the ultimate amplifier.
So you can really use clear quartz with every chakra.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And then selenite, which for rejuvenation, connecting again with higher realms, for clearing out energy. Right. So when we're working through our crown chakra, we're receiving information at fast speeds. So using selenite to work with the crown chakra helps to keep that channel clear and clean.
Right. So if you think of it like a radio frequency or a radio channel, the old days we'd have static. A lot of people have, we're not listening. We're listening to our iPhones and iPods and Sirius radio music channel instead of the old-fashioned AM FM where we get static on the radio, but this helps to keep it clear.
Yep.
Nicole, thank you so much.
Thank you. That was fun.
Yeah, walking us through each of the chakras and the stones. And for anybody listening, please, if you have questions or want to work directly with Nicole, it is Nicole Henley. Her website is Nhspiritualalchemy.com. She's also on Instagram or Facebook. You can get in touch with her, message her directly. Nicole Henley, Henley. That was such a comprehensive overview, really thorough and detailed, and I'm so appreciative of your walking us through in such a accessible and relatable way of what the chakras and what the stones are for everyday use, but also with each of our chakras if we want to bring them into balance and simply learn more about each crystal. We have these treasures around us. So that brings us to the end of this episode of Mystical Messages. To learn more about my work or to book a session with me, please visit hilaryharley.com. If you would like to read my monthly forecast to check the dates of planets and cycles, planetary events, or cycles, you may find the full written transcript for all astrology episodes on my website. Thank you for listening to me today, and please join me again when I will bring you my astrology forecast for the month of April 2023. I wish you many blessings as you journey forward.